Look, they can protest all they want. Matter of fact, those streets are safer to protest in because of what ICE has done since President Trump has taken back the White House. Right after inauguration, I went to Chicago. Brandon Johnson said I wasn't welcome. I was there 2 days later. And I started an operation that week, and the first day I was there, in one day, we took 9 TDA members, Trinidad gang members, off the street, and they were selling guns, handguns with what they call switch, that make that handgun fully automatic, and they're selling to other gang members. We arrested 7 to 9, I can't remember the numbers, either 7 or 9, sexual predators, and most of them were convicted of sexual assault on a child. We arrested 2 illegal aliens who were convicted of homicide walking the streets of Chicago. So in one day when I was there, we made Chicago much safer. And ICE is back there now, keeping President Trump's promise, we're going to make America safe again. Governor Pritzker should be calling Donald Trump just to thank him for making his streets safer.
I'm going to get to Pritzker in a second because he brought up your name today. But I want to ask you, Tom, what the goal is here as this Operation Midway Blitz is underway. You heard Nancy mention there's some 500,000, it's believed, illegal immigrants in the state of Illinois. Chicago alone, they have a website that says 51,648 they have taken in people who crossed illegally from the southern border since September of 2022. So what's the goal? Is it to deport all, or to apprehend and deport every illegal immigrant, just criminals? What's the goal here?
Well, first, a couple points. ICE is doing the same thing in Chicago today that we've done for 40 years, 40 decades. However, the last 4 years under Joe Biden, they weren't allowed to enforce the law. So people are used to ICE not arresting illegal aliens. Now we're back to the job that ICE has, and everybody's shocked. So I think a lot of it has to do with 4 years of zero enforcement. But look, it's not okay to be in the United States illegally. It is a crime to enter this country illegally. And while people are defending people here illegally, there are millions of people standing in line, taking their tests, doing their background investigation, paying their fees to come here the right way. They're sitting in the back seat while you got people cheating the system.
And I hear you.
President Trump and I've been clear from day one. We've been clear from day one. The priority is public safety threats and national security threats. And if you look at the data, which I look at every morning, 70% of everybody we're arresting is a criminal. And
okay,
so we're doing exactly what the President Trump promised we do.
With that as the backdrop, do you believe that thousands, tens of thousands will be apprehended in Chicago?
Oh, we'll see. But I said that we always prioritize public safety threats and national security threats. But if you're in the country legally, you're not off the table. As a matter of fact, if you wanted less, what we call collateral arrest, less criminals, the public safety threats, then let us in the jails. Let us in Cook County, which is a huge jail that don't allow us in the jail. They don't accept our detainers. The more people we have in the jails to actually arrest the public safety threat and the safety and security of a jail, rather than release them in the public, which is a public safety threat, that's less officers in the neighborhood. But when they knowingly release these public safety threats back in the community, we have to go to the community and find them. And when we find that public safety threat, and we find most of them, they're with others who aren't a criminal threat, but they're in the country illegally, they're coming too. Because we're not going to tell ICE to ignore the oath you took, ignore the laws enacted by Congress. We're enforcing the laws. We're not going to apologize for doing it.
I hear you on jails. What about businesses? What about schools?
We don't do operations at schools. And that's another false narrative. The left is really scaring the public. We don't, we ended the sense of location policy because business, we absolutely are going to increase worksite enforcement operations because first of all, it's a crime to enter the country illegally, and second of all, it's a crime to knowingly hire an illegal alien because you do that in competition with your competitors who hire U.S. citizens. And I've seen it happens 1,000 times a day in this country that companies that hire U.S. citizens lose contracts, can't win bids because they're against another company who has illegal aliens paying them a third of what American citizens make. It drives wages down. It makes a U.S. citizen become unemployed. So, right. worksite enforcement operations are going to expand.
Okay. I mentioned the governor there, JB Pritzker. You heard a little bit of what he said, what he said to our Nancy Liu. He specifically mentioned you, Tom, earlier today. Here's what he said. I want to get your reaction on the other side.
Tom Homan has long ago acknowledged that he was racially profiling. As the leader of ICE, as somebody who is now advising the president on this new strategy, attacking our Latino communities, we know that that Supreme Court decision yesterday that frankly takes away rights from people across the United States is something that Tom Homan cheers.
What's your response tonight, sir?
Well, I'll be waiting for his apologies, because I never said you can use race as a matter of arresting somebody. My words are taken out of context when people were complaining, well, you know, the way a person looks is why you arrest them. I did not say that. I said that's one of the many factors you consider. You have to have a multitude of factors. You can't arrest somebody just based on appearance. That's what I said. So he's misconstruing what I said. I know the law. He doesn't. ICE officers and Border Patrol agents need reasonable suspicion before they can temporarily detain somebody, question them. Reasonable suspicion is based on a multitude of facts that the officer, through his observations, takes into consideration. For instance, appearance. If you've got somebody with MS-13 tattooed across their face, that is one factor out of many you have to consider, but not the only factor. That is what I said. ICE officers do not racially profile. To him to say that is disgusting on every level. The ICE officers take a Fourth Amendment training every 6 months. They're well trained. They're doing exactly what the courts allowed them to do, and the Supreme Court just agreed. They're doing things legally.
Tom, let me leave you with this, because the president has talked about the possibility of sending in the National Guard there in Chicago. Operation Midway Blitz is currently underway. Again, live pictures there of protests in Chicago. But the operation is underway, and yet we haven't seen the National Guard go in. Is that a realization, a recognition from the White House that the National Guard most likely won't be sent in to Chicago?
National Guard's always on the table. Beyond that, I won't comment.
Got it. We'll leave it there. As I think you heard there, Tom, just trying to learn about what you're doing there in the city of Chicago. Tom Homan is the border czar with the Trump administration. Hope you come on back. Thanks for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.